Thank you so much for that. You know, every time the war in Ukraine comes on the TV news, I think about you and so glad you're here and safe and hope for the safety of everybody else. Good morning to all of you here today. Hello to those who are present in the sanctuary, especially to you all. I took your seat from you 2 years ago when I moved down here, and when I'm up here, you get your seat back. So congratulations. But also those who are watching online, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation or Fellowship of Vero Beach. We call it UUFVB. My name is Roger Ray. My pronouns are he, him, and his, though I always insisted that my college students call me sir. So you can't go far wrong with that. I'm a rather corpulent cleric, tall, gray beard and hair. And for those of you who are vision impaired, I'm wearing a white shirt and I am intensely handsome. And don't believe anyone who says otherwise. Reverend Tom always likes for us to say how we became Unitarian. I grew up in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, a fairly liberal academic American version of the Presbyterian Church. I was ordained in that tradition, served in that tradition for 30 years, but as they started to drift towards the right and I was on a hard march to the left, I found myself uncomfortable in their surroundings, and I went through some of the same phases that I know that many of the rest of you did. I became a very progressive Christian, a post-theistic Christian, and then I was teaching world religions at Drury University and realized I was no more Christian than I was Buddhist or Zoroastrian or anything else. And so I was doing some lecture tours around the country, and I was in a Unitarian church in South Carolina, and someone just said, "You sure do sound like a Unitarian. Why aren't you a Unitarian?" And I said, well, I think I probably am. So I just joined a Unitarian church officially at that point, and that was about 15 years ago. I'm still evolving. I'm trying to get better at it, but I'm mighty proud to be here with you folks. Following the service, please join us in the fellowship hall for a cup of coffee and some wonderful snacks that are there. If you're visiting, please get a red cup that identifies you to the rest of us so that we can introduce ourselves to you and try to get to know you a little bit better. Let me ask you to do what I did as I walked in the sanctuary, which is turn your phone to silent. You can't help turning and glaring at anyone that lets their phone go off in a public service, so avoid the glares and turn it off now. Please look in your order of service to see what's going on in the life of the church this week, which is a great deal, and it's not all in there. Reverend Tom asked me to promote one event, so I'm going to be very self-serving and promote our covenant groups. One of the reasons I go to church, after 45 years as a parish minister, I retired and started going to church immediately because I want to be in community. I already know what I believe. I've got advanced degrees in theology. I'm not here necessarily because I need some instruction, but I need to be connected to other people. So we use the covenant groups in our church to help promote that. Eileen Hanley called me a couple of months ago and asked if I would help her to start a new group. We meet on the first Thursday of each month at 1:30. I missed the last meeting because I had shoulder surgery, but we meet upstairs, Eileen, is that right? So if you are not in a covenant group, this one is mixed. It's men and women, except right now I'm the only man. So speak to Eileen and after the service, and we would love to have you at our next meeting, which is September 4th. If coming to meet me or Eileen doesn't do it for you, my fiance, Sunan Petpersan, is immigrating from Thailand this Friday, so she'll be there. And she's much more interesting than I am, so do please come and introduce yourself. Eileen, how many people do we want in the group? Is it 9, 10 people that we want? Okay, and It's not this Thursday. It's September 4th. Are we vetting these people at all? I mean, we're looking for very interesting and educated people. Is that? Yeah. Yeah. We have an assigned reading. It's an essay and at least a general guideline for conversation. So you'll not only make new connections, but you'll leave a little smarter. It's a good deal. So please come. Thanks.
Church is the way we live. Church is the way we care. Church is open. Church is gathered all the time and everywhere. Church is the hungry fed. Church is the wounded healed. In the work we do for justice, in the hope we bring the hopeless, all the best that church can be is finally revealed.
It is our tradition to light a chalice at the beginning of our services and say a few words that are meaningful to us. So please join me in saying these words. This is a congregation that gathers in faith, not faith in one religion or one God or one way. We gather in faith of the power of diversity, the power of love, and the hope of a world transformed by our care. We gather in faith in ourselves and those around us, not a faith that requires perfection, rather a faith that our shared imperfection we may learn to stumble and fall together. Faith that we will help one another to rise and to try again and again. We are Unitarian Universalists.
Please join us in our opening hymn, Where is Our Holy Church? Number 113. We're singing verses 1, 4, and 5. Rise as you are willing and able.
Church, where race and class unite.
Reverend Tom, there's so many more people here than when I did the announcements. I feel like I should do it again. The reading this morning is from What is Religion by Jarmo Tarki, a professor in the religion department at California Lutheran University. The way we define religion determines the content of activity, purpose, and focus of religious community. The philosopher John Ito said, Latin religio originally meant obligation bond. It was probably derived from the verb religar, tie back or tie right. It developed a specialized sense, bond between human beings and the gods. And from the 5th century, it came to be used for monastic life. Religious practices emerged from this. But the word's standard meaning did not develop until as recently as the 16th century. Tarki goes on, the standard modern meaning offered by the dominant Western religious traditions defines religion as belief in God, where God is understood as an omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent supernatural being. There is, of course, a myriad of well-known definitions or descriptions of the word religion. Philosopher Karl Marx wrote, religion is the sigh of an oppressed creature, a protest against real suffering. It is then the opium of the people, the illusory sun which revolves around man for as long as he does not revolve around himself. Philosopher and theologian Rudolf Otto wrote, religion is what grows out of and gives expression to the experience of the holy in its various forms. Sigmund Freud wrote, religion is comparable to childhood neurosis. Writer and philosopher Aldous Huxley wrote, religion is the price we pay for being intelligent, but not yet intelligent enough. Philosopher and theologian Paul Tillich wrote, religion is the state of being grasped by an ultimate concern, a concern which qualifies all other concerns as preliminary, and which itself contains the answer to the question of the meaning of life. And Reverend Tom added this last definition. After talking to Jerry Andrews about Emil Durkheim, Durkheim established the academic discipline of sociology. His theory of religion centers on the idea that religion is a social construct that serves to unite individuals and reinforce social solidarity. He viewed religion not as a belief in supernatural forces, but as a unified system of beliefs and practices relative to sacred things, which unite a group of people into one moral community called a church.
And I am going to preach after that, so. So this is our time when you have that opportunity, if you're extroverted, and if you're introverted, just kind of, look around, to greet one another. So I invite you to greet one another if you want, and if you don't, that's okay too. But preferably greet people you don't know, particularly people who are new to the congregation. We're building a community here. Go ahead. It is hard once we get started talking to settle people back down. But so this is our time when we acknowledge that we each come here with our own joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. Before me is water, the very sustenance of life. Water can buoy you up, nourish, cleanse, replenish you. It is a source of life which creates beauty and the very making of tears. This community, like water, is the very sustenance of our lives, especially when we remember our sacred obligation to buoy each other up in times of sorrow, to nourish one another in times of want, to cleanse one another with acts of kindness and generosity, and to replenish one another when our hearts are weary and worn. Today, with this water, I remind us visually of our sacred obligation to one another. First, I will add some salt for the tears that have fallen this week. May we remember that there are those among us who have been in pain. So let us be tender with one another, for we do not know what is in the silent sanctuary of one another's hearts. And I add some flowers to remind us of the beauty and joy that surrounds us in our lives, that floats on the surface of many of our faces and enlivens our spirits. In a moment, those of you who find it meaningful may come forward and place a stone in one of our bowls of water here. But before we do that, I'm happy to place some stones in the water for those who raise their hand. Just making sure. Now, those of you who wish may come forward and place a stone in the water. May all we offer one another keep us connected and blessed within this hour and the week ahead. Amen.
This is the time in our service when we express our gratitude and commitment by sharing our financial resources. To contribute to our fellowship, place your offering in an envelope from the back of the pews and put it in that, or to donate to UUFVB by clicking on the QR code that shows up on the screen right now. Just point at it with your phone, just like you do at more and more restaurants, and just make your donation that way. I will just add, I'm not supposed to go off script, sorry, Reverend, but having been a pastor for 45 years, I always had to raise the money to meet the budget, and I realized during those years that a little more than half of the congregation never contributed anything, and there were those who contributed quite a lot, thankfully, that made up for the rest. But I just want to encourage everyone to have a little skin in the game. I was so pleased when I moved here to find this church just a mile from my house. Beautiful gardens, a beautiful aesthetic here in the building, a fantastic facility, none of which happens for free. A staff that is well-educated, trained, and so helpful, that also doesn't happen for free. So please, even if your resources are limited, as mine certainly are at this point in life, get some skin in the game and participate in contributing to support the church. But our offering today also serves another purpose, that of supporting an organization that addresses the needs of the underserved in our community. That's the purpose of our Sunday Fund, one of our congregation's major social justice outreach efforts. And today's Sunday Fund recipient is Village Arts of Vero Beach. It promotes self-sufficiency and community integration for adults with intellectual and development disabilities. In a home-like environment, creativity and self-expression are nurtured through art making and marketing. As we now receive the offering, I implore you to do so generously and gratefully.
This morning, I offer a prayer written by Unitarian Universalist Reverend Krista Tavis. I invite you to start by just paying attention to your breathing. Feeling each breath as it goes in, goes out. Breathe with me. Breathe as a community. Breathe the breath of life. Breathe. Inhale. Inspire. Inspiration. Ruach. Spiritus. The Holy Spirit. The many names for breath. Breathe. Breathe with me, breathe with each other. Know that each breath we take in molecules of air that were breathed by every person that ever lived. Breathe with me, breathe with each other, and breathe in the breath of Jesus, of Moses, of Muhammad, of the Buddha. Breathe. Breathe with me, breathe with each other, and know that we are all interdependent, that the Spirit of life flows through us all. Breathe. Breathe with me and breathe with each other as we come together to do the holy work of interconnection and relationship. And know that our work here is blessed. Amen.
Amazing place, this church I found, a place I love to be, where hope and love and joy abound. This is
Many Unitarian Universalists are either told by someone at some point in their life that Unitarian Universalism is not a religion, or asked the question, is Unitarian Universalism a religion? You might even ask yourself that. So I thought today, as we explore what the heck religion is, we might find an answer to that question. Is Unitarian Universalism a religion? And I want to be clear that certain religious traditions, particularly here in our Western culture, have usurped the definition of religion to contour the word to fit their traditions and beliefs. We today will not be focusing strictly on the Abrahamic views of religion, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, but a more broader understanding. And so where do we start? You know, you might have some critical questions about religion, like if it's supposed to be good, why does it seem to be at the heart of so much conflict? Great question. Not one I'm going to answer today. But I did find this lovely book, which is actually more useful than you might think in offering some thoughts about the questions of religion. In it, I found some ideas, and, well, I'm going to share those with you. You might say, for instance, that religion is about belief. But of course, not all beliefs follow under the purview of religion. For instance, I believe that my recipe for jambalaya is the best in the world. Now, that's certainly not a religious belief, unless you have some kind of spiritual experience with my jambalaya, which maybe so. Some people believe that a community is not a religion unless it holds a belief in some kind of divinity or god or goddess. If belief in divinity defines religion, what about Buddhism, which is considered by most theologians as one of the major world religions? And Buddhism doesn't have a belief in a god or gods or goddess. You might say they are agnostic about divinity. Other people believe that religion is about being a decent human being, or perhaps caring for the environment. But I think we know that not all decent, responsible human beings are religious, and not all people who identify as religious are decent, caring human beings. So is religion about truth? Well, different religions and as well as the sciences have different understandings of what truth is. So how does a person land on a coherent, single, all-encompassing definition of the word religion? I will offer some of my thoughts, though I will probably steal a few ideas from some old white guys I've pondered. But wait, there are feminist views. And unsurprisingly, some feminists view traditional religion and doctrines as patriarchal, leading to marginalization and oppression of women, reinforcing gender inequality, limiting women's roles in religious communities, and perpetuating harmful stereotypes. For instance, Karen Armstrong. Some of you may know Karen Armstrong. She's a former Catholic religious sister, British author, commentator. She's written some books on comparative religion. She says that the exclusion of women from the Catholic priesthood is evidence of marginalization. I agree that has been, religion has been used to oppress. But I still believe that we might be able to come up with some common, unified definition of religion that makes sense to us. Even as we understand that we live in a patriarchal culture, even as we swim in waters of white privilege, even as the majority of us grew up being taught colonialism was a grand adventure of exploring and claiming territories. At least I hope. I'm going to make a stab at it this morning. So first, I want to say that religion is done in community. I'm not saying that every community is a religion. Bowling leagues, not so much. Political parties, Social justice groups, like Showing Up for Racial Justice, SURJ, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, Indivisible, Education Champions. Well, they're not religious, yet many of the social justice groups that exist are populated by religious people, many Unitarians, expressing their religious beliefs through their work in these secular organizations. Now, you probably will hear somewhere out there that Unitarian Universalism is just a social club, a social justice club or a social club, like so many other social justice clubs. Well, it is true that one of our core missions is to work for a better world, to work for justice, equity, and peace. But my friends, we are much more than that. We are a community. But Unitarian Universalism is more, much more, than a social justice club. So at least for me, one of the central concepts of religion is that it focuses on ultimate concerns. I want to repeat philosopher and theologian Paul Tillich's definition of religion. Religion is the state of being grasped by an ultimate concern, a concern which qualifies all other concerns as preliminary, and which itself contains the answers to the questions of the meaning of life. I believe that at least some of us have interest in this being grasped by an ultimate concern. I know I am. Many of us are grappling with what is of primary importance in our lives over all and all other things. Some of us are shaping our beliefs into something that guides us, that answers the questions of the meaning of life, something that grounds us and gives us focus, a primary belief, faith, idea. This concept of an ultimate concern that grasps me is something that has changed over my lifetime. The thing that is most important to me, above all other secondary and mundane aspects of life. When I was young, let's say from my earliest memories till my early teens, I was grasped by the holy, which held me and gave me direction and meaning and purpose. I cannot tell you today if the holy was a Catholic God or a sense of peace and centeredness that I felt in church. I remember this feeling most distinctly when I recall the times when I was an altar boy, performing the rituals in those early morning 5 a.m. masses with only a few people in the pews. The church seemed to resonate with the holy as I rang the bells during the blessings of the Eucharist. And the holy called me to be humble, loving, compassionate, to consider the needs of those less fortunate than myself. To me, at that time in my life, the holy defined religion. Today, the ultimate concern that grasps me is love. Love is at the center of this image, as it is in the center of my life. Love, as it is articulated in Article 2 of our Unitarian Universalist bylaws, makes real sense to me and feels right for me today. Love is that primary source above all others that grounds me, that directs me, that gives my life meaning. Article 2 says, love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these values, these shared values that come out of love are justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. That's my religion today, pure and simple. For me, that's not only my religion, but my Unitarian Universalism. But that's not all there is to the definition of religion. Religions also offer us a place for people to consider or embrace answers to the various questions of existence. Is there a divine? What about death? How can I learn to forgive? What is right and wrong action? How can I heal emotionally, spiritually? Do I have a purpose? And how do I discover what that is? Who am I? How we answer these questions will shape our personal definition of the word religion. The quest for these answers can be individual, which I see as spirituality. But when this quest is done in community, I at least call that religion. By the way, I'm going to offer a class on obstacles and opportunities for spiritual growth in October and November. So if you want to explore some of these questions or find some tools to help answer some of these questions, look for that class. I'm going to swing back to Emil Durkheim for a moment. Durkheim had a few ideas I want to share with you about what religion is. He identified several functions of religion in society, and I think they're germane for us to think about. He said, religions have rituals that encourage individuals to behave in a socially acceptable way and not just for purely selfish interests. Religious worship brings people together, strengthening and affirming our social bonds. Religion makes traditions and ensures that shared values are kept alive. Religion reminds us that individuals, all individuals, have a place in the larger society preventing alienation. If you think about religion from a sociological perspective, and I'm not sure you'll go that deep with somebody who asks you about whether Unitarian Universalism is a religion, but I think Unitarian Universalism certainly embodies these four functions. During our chalice lighting, we affirm our work to make the world a better place. Our time of worship brings us together to affirm and strengthen our bonds. Do we share the exact values and traditions among us? No, we don't. We rejoice in our pluralism. We may not have everything in common, but my friends, what we do have in common, I think, is powerful. A shared commitment to make the world equitable, peaceful, just for everyone. We believe our place is with the underserved, the marginalized, and the oppressed. And I think that's an important part of what makes Unitarian Universalism a religion. I have one more question for us to consider today about religion and Unitarian Universalism. It's not so much the definition of religion as it is what makes religion relevant, particularly in these times that we live in. I came across an article written by Bree Lakota that explored this question. She suggests that many people are looking for a religion that does more than just meet the basic idea or definition of a religion. We want a relevant religious community that meets the needs of the moment, and particularly the needs of young people in this moment. And Bree suggests that we need to be asking ourselves some of these questions and decide collectively how we will answer them if we are to be relevant. Are we being authentic, grounded in truth that is not just some abstract concept, but ideas that are real and resonate with us in this life? Are we embedded in the community? For instance, are we committed to Indian River County, wanting to make a difference here? Are we pollinating? Are we interested in spreading ideas rather than just establishing an institution? Are we embodied? Are we interested in bodily experiences because of the belief that knowledge and value can be gained from bodily experiences? Are we activated? Not just a congregation of ideas. Are we enacting our vision for a better world and making it happen? Are we empathetic? Are our actions grounded in empathy, care, and compassion, particularly for marginalized people? Are we networked, strongly connected within and across the community? Are we enfranchised without a strict hierarchy? Authentically welcoming ideas from everyone? Are we adaptive, responding to new social challenges and opportunities with a sense of possibility rather than a sense of fear? I think these are fantastic questions, and I believe these are questions that any religion should be asking today. In fact, I would go so far as to say, I think we should stop talking about, or at least not put so much energy into whether Unitarian or Universalism is a religion, and instead put energy into these questions. That's the kind of work religion should be doing today. And I think we have started some of that work here. So what do you think? about religion, about Unitarian Universalism being a religion, about these questions. I look forward to talking with you during coffee hour. I'm going to be in coffee hour, and I want to hear what your thoughts are about all this. Not just today, even weeks and weeks after today. And when someone comes up to you and asks if Unitarian is a Universalism is a religion, what are you going to say? Heck yeah. Amen to that.
Please join us for our closing hymn. It's called Church is More Than Just a Building. Yes, this is a new hymn, but it is to a very familiar tune that you all know. It's written by Amanda Udis Kessler, who is a UU writer. And like I said, you will recognize the tune. And the words are great.
Church is more than just a building, more than wood or metal or brick. Church is how we love our neighbor. Church is how we tend to the sick. Feed the hungry, heal the suffering, welcome strangers and give to the poor. All our service is as worship, all our presence an open door. We're the church in the path we follow, showing care to those in pain. In the midst of fear and sorrow, we're the church, and here we'll remain. Seeking justice, showing kindness, singing praises in all that we do. Church is more than just a building. It's our work in a world made new.
I offer these words by Unitarian Universalist William E. Gardner. We all have two religions, the religion we talk about and the religion we live. It is our task to make the difference between the two as small as possible. Let's go forth and do so.